Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall Lionesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
It's the 5th show of COVID-19 Lockdown 3.0 here in England. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave Hart, Ted Robinson, and Patricia Maslin.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Right, before I turn to the panel, there are a couple of urgent requests. Sean Daly of the Millwall Community Trust is desperate for volunteers to deliver their support to the community. Every day he is losing team members due to self-isolation requirements. Please call Sean on 07958 027 060 if you can help. That's 07958 027 060. The Lions Food Hub, based in Rennie and Manor Estate Tenants and Residents Association Hall in Bermondsey, are looking for food and financial support. To help them, you can find Lions Food Hub on Twitter and Facebook. You'll hear more about that later in the show. So, after those announcements, guys, how is everybody?
Yeah, not bad.
All good here.
All good here, Gary.
Good. Firstly, Pat, what do you think about the Cardiff and Norwich City results?
Oh,
Three clean sheets out of
it's
four.
a loaded question all at once, wasn't it? The two games. Well, Cardiff City. It's a decent enough performance. Got a new manager. You'd think they'd have a bit of a honeymoon period, but I don't think they look that way. We look sharp and much more confident than we have in recent weeks, although they had to score a goal because we just got no one who can do it. Jed receives a nice pass from Ben Thompson, and I don't know what he was trying to do because there was no one in the area he could pass to, but luckily enough he scooped it along the back line and Morrison put it in the goal for us. About halfway through they started coming on top. Leonard dealt really well with Kiefer Moore apart from the goal. I think if Sahor had taken one of his easy chances, we would have easily walked away with a win there, but I suppose you can't complain, point away from home. So, yeah, all in all, I enjoyed that game.
And quick comment on Norwich.
Excellent game. Really loved that. We were biting at their heels, harassing them, showed no respect for their league position. I just love the new signing. Kiefenfeld, that's him, that person. I really like the look of him. As everyone's saying, looks a Millwall player, and only if you're a Millwall supporter you'd know what that means. We had more shots on target than them. Although I know Ted's not a big fan of Tomo, and he's technically he's not brilliant, but he gave 100%. He covered that pitch, and he fully deserves his place in the starting 11 after that performance. Leonard looked comfortable in his new position. Possible contention for Player of the Year there. And Jed's been back to his normal self these last couple of games. No complaints from me for that game.
Do you agree with Pat, Dave?
Absolutely, yeah. Cardiff was one of those games that's always going to be a banana skin, as you said, with new manager. And it certainly turned out to be that. When we gave them a goal exactly like we did with the home tie, Kiefer Moore again. And he's never going to miss an opportunity like that to score. So it's a point of if only. Norwich in the week much better performance. Clifton Beld was instrumental in the hub in the midfield. His tackling was great, hustling. He didn't let anyone push him around, and it was a breath of fresh air to have somebody there that would give the rest of the team a bit more of an opportunity to move on and press Norwich more. The subs that were made in the second half certainly influenced the game, turned it in our favour. We were on top, but again, it's one of those if only.
And Ted, over to you, mate.
I've got news for Pat, Gary. I am a fan of Ben Thompson, always have been. But I think Ben, unfortunately, is limited in what he can do. And sometimes I'm not sure he fits in the style we play. But I can't take anything away from him the last few games. He's played well and he's warranted his place in the team. Cardiff, I thought, was the signs that we was turning the corner, beginning to become solid again, beginning to come a team that we know that we can be. And I'm listen, I know Pat said we've got no one that can put the ball in, but when you're going through runs like we're going, I know it's been a long time, Kensahor gets a chance where he goes through, he does the keeper, and it flicks off the keeper's foot and goes wide. If that was Bartowski saving that, it would have said, what a brilliant save. But when it's a Millwall forward going through, all of a sudden it's a bad miss. You know, it's one of them. I thought we played well against Cardiff and probably just about deserved to win that. Now we come on to Norwich. Now that was a Millwall performance. That's the sort of performance that we fully expect from a Millwall team when they play teams at the top of the table. Norwich, we know all about them. They play nice football. They knock it around. But we was at them from the word go. And I think one of the catalysts of that is the new fella, the Dutchman. I can't pronounce his name. I'll get it one day, I suppose. But he is a proper Millwall player. And he's also a decent footballer as well. We can knock the ball around. And we missed chances in that game. Kensahor, who I thought was brilliant on the night, missed a sitter of an header. Jed, again, had a brilliant performance, but missed an open goal. I don't care if it was 40 yards out. He should have buried it. And Scott Malone pulled one wide. You know, there was chances in that game, and it was the Millwall side I expected to see for most of this season. So I'm just hoping that we get it for the rest of the season. It should have been a win against Norwich, but the performance was all encouraging, and hopefully we can take that on with us for the rest of the season.
I agree, Ted, but I also had a horrible feeling that if that Jed Wallace chance at the end was on target, the referee might have had his whistle closer to his lips.
I do.
Yeah, well, the referee, again, it just happened to be the same guy that denied us 2 penalties at Swansea.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, he denied us 2 penalties again this time. I think the Bennett one maybe would have been a bit iffy, but I think with Hutch, it was a clear hand on his shoulder and he prevented him from getting near the ball. And how he never see that, I do not know. It was, disappointing again. But having said that, you can't blame the ref for us not scoring the chances that we did have. They had a bit of luck as well, by the way, with Smith's one. I think that was going in a corner and it just hit the defender. So, yeah, it was a brilliant performance, and let's hope we take that on for the rest of the season.
Indeed. We will take a break there and be back with our first guest this evening. But for now, let's listen to what fantastic fanatics can offer our club, Millwall.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm Gary Staff, and I am back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Ted Robinson, Patricia Maslin. Sign up for Fantastic Fanatics online and buy what you need, and a percentage will go to our community trust. Having trouble finding us on Spreaker? Just search for Millwall No One Likes Us Talking. We can also be found on Twitter, Facebook, and via our website. The podcast can also be found via all the major podcast outlet. Our first guest tonight is a friend of the show and a championship aficionado. God, put my teeth in. During lockdown, he has been creating some superb content, including transfer updates, watch-alongs, view and reaction shows, and the Dearly Departed, which talks about the clubs that have left the championship. I am an avid watcher of all of his content. Welcome to the show, Benjamin Bloom.
Good evening, Gary.
Hi, Ben. How's things?
Good. I made a risotto, and it was supposed to be for 2 people, but my missus didn't want any, so I've just eaten risotto for 2 people, so I feel a bit bloated.
What? I can't believe Shaylee didn't want your cooking, mate.
Do you know what? She put some fries in the oven instead, so I think that says everything that needs to be said about my mushroom risotto.
Oh dear. Okay, so before I let you off to Pat, Dave and Ted, who's with us tonight, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about how you feel the season's gone so far for the Lions. Very up and down, hell of a lot of draws, and if the championship's going as you thought it would. What are your thoughts, Ben?
Millwall's been a bit disappointing, hasn't it? We thought after an 8th place finish last season that, you know, they would be around that second quartile of the table, if not maybe pushing on. And then the signings at the beginning of the season and the lack of a big sale of one of the key players sort of going out, there were grounds to think that they may improve, but it's not been the case, has it? And as you say, on for some kind of record here, because we're projecting around 20 plus draws if things continue. I think the record's 24, but if things continue like this for the season, I'm just looking at Bristol City in 9th, who have won 12 games and lost 12 games. You'd rather have lost the extra 5 games than had the 14 draws, I'm sure. But in respects of the championship, well, the 3 year 1 relegated teams are all in the top 6. Reading have been a bit of a surprise. They're way higher than I thought they would be, and perhaps a Derby and a Forest are a bit lower, and Cardiff maybe than I expected to be. But otherwise, as much as I probably do pay a little bit too much attention to the championship, as expected.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hi Ben, it's Pat here.
Hi, Pat.
Interesting review of our season so far. What do you think about Rowett? I mean, it's really divided amongst their supporters about whether he's right for the club or not. What do you think?
Well, I thought he was perfect last season. Everything seemed to be hunky-dory. He seemed to kind of get the club, which is very important at Millwall because it's kind of unique, isn't it? And the manager needs to buy into the kind of sort of the character of the club. Do you know what I mean? It's if you don't buy into that, you're done before you've started. But it's tough to say because the one thing I know about Millwall fans is they want just a good fair fight. Do you know what I mean? And what we're seeing is, we're happy with a draw and we'll kind of sit back. And from what I know of Millwall fans, they'd happily go home losing, having given it a good go, rather than sitting back and being a bit pragmatic. So perhaps that needs to change slightly. But I think we all knew what row at Millwall were getting before he went there. He's been like this at Derby and at Stoke as well. So remains to be seen. I've spoken to more Millwall fans that are sceptical than that are behind him, is what I would say.
Hi Ben, Dave here.
Hi Dave.
The standard of refereeing in the Championship is a topic again recently. Do you have a view on it? And if you do, is there any way we could possibly change the standards?
We got this weird situation now where you've got VAR in the Premier League, and as much as people whine and moan about VAR, they are now adhering to the standards that VAR kind of produces, whereby little finicky things that you would have got away with and left the ground saying, oh, well, they got away with that one, but we've on it, leaving itself out. That now doesn't happen. And obviously offsides are done to the millimetre of a player's sleeve. So on the one hand, you've got that in the Premier League. And as Gary mentioned in his intro, I speak to a lot of Premier League fans doing Dearly Departed. And on the one hand, they're fed up with, it being micromanaged and VAR and all that. And then in the Championship, I genuinely think now you've got the issue with the disparity between the two. So, for example, in Millwall's last game, there was an incident right at the end where Kieran Dowley's got his hand on Sean Hutchison's shoulder as he's jumping for a corner. That in the Premier League, VAR, if it had checked, would have picked up. And we know how incriminating the freeze frame and the super slow-mo is. So Millwall would likely have been given a penalty in that incident. You've got the Premier League fans moaning about that, and we've got the Championship fans on the other hand saying the standard's not quite there. I always try and come from a position of empathy, and I've always thought that it's impossible for referees to do it. One referee and two assistant referees. But now they're being compared to the standard of machines in the Premier League. I just suspect that it'll be 1, 2, 3 seasons, and then the VAR will come into the Championship, and then I look forward to the well, I won't say what I was going to say, the S storm that then begins when that happens. But yes, they make mistakes, and I genuinely think it will be going down the VAR road in the future that will be the way of attempting to improve it.
Hi, David. Just before Ted comes in, I just want to say, did you see Mark Halsey's comments this week as well that got posted about that? He was saying that when he was a Premier League referee, he had to adhere to a few certain rules to make things go certain ways.
No, I didn't see that.
Did you see that, Ben?
I've not seen that, no. Mr. Halsey, I've met a couple of times and I've watched referee a couple of times. And what I will say about referees, and I'm talking particularly about perhaps referee Stroud or referee Langford here, that what we do want for referees is for them to do their best, but not behave in an ostentatious and attention-seeking manner whilst they're doing it. And yes, Mike Dean is quite funny, but perhaps Mr. Halsey, the way he used to flourish yellow cards and make sure the whole stadium was watching him as he gave someone a talking to before a red card. Perhaps he could have looked at that during his career as well, is what I would say.
Yeah.
I find all referees funny, Ben, really. But sorry, mate, it's Ted here. They all make me laugh from time to time. But,
well, it takes a certain kind of person, Ted. I'd love to see a trained psychologist speak on the mindset of a referee, because essentially you've got the likes of us who we want a kind of involvement in football, but we're quite happy to say, well, look, we'll chat about it on a podcast and all this. Whereas referees, they kind of want to be on the pitch as well. So I think there are a few people who perhaps wanted to be picked first at football and weren't quite there, and this is their way onto the pitch. But I'm sure they try their best. I'm really sure they try their best. They need help. We all know they need help. The standard of athleticism within players just means that one referee and two assistant referees. And like I say about the Championship, you're now being compared where offside decisions, for example, in the Premier League, as much as it annoys people, they are all correct. There will not be a goal scored this season that's offside in the Premier League. There just won't, because the VAR won't let it. And that's now the standard. Just, a team like Fulham, West Brom or Leeds have gone from the one standard to the other in being promoted. And conversely, a Norwich, Watford or a Bournemouth has come down. It'd be interesting to speak to the fans of teams that have had VAR one season and not the other, and see what their view is.
You say about VAR perhaps coming into the Championship sort of 3-4 years ahead. Do you think there is any point to referees carrying mics so we can hear what they say, like in the rugby?
Yeah, possibly. The only thing I will say is if you ever heard a referee answer a question or speak, you won't learn a lot from what they're saying. All they do is quote the laws, which would probably be quite good for fans, because I don't want to insult anybody listening. Fans don't know the rules of football. They genuinely don't. You know, I make a point of, I'll go on a stream and there'll be a fierce tackle going and somebody will go, Ben, that's a red card. That's a red card. Look, he's gone over the top and he's out of control. And I'll say, okay, over the top and out of control are not mentioned in the laws at all. And I put my pedant hat on and I say, right, answer me this. Was it reckless, endangering an opponent, or using excessive force? So I think, to your point, if we heard a referee say to a player, I am sending you off because I deem that you have used excessive force in that tackle, we might learn a bit. But we all know the reason they do not do that is because if they get something wrong and they've committed to a position, here come your lawyers and away we go and all hell breaks loose with, well, you said that was this and it turned out not to be, and we lost that game and we got relegated by 2 points and our broadcast income's gone from 100 million down to 7 million. We'd like to sue you for the 93 million that we're short, Mr. Referee. So they're not going to do it, but it would be very interesting. But what would be a fun campaign to start is to actually get fans to actually know the laws of the game, because a lot of us, and look, I know bias kind of comes in, and let's be honest, there's fans that every decision goes against their team they think is wrong, and every decision that goes for their team they think is right. So it is hard to have a credible chat. I'm not saying with you guys, obviously, but it is hard to have a credible chat about refereeing when I find when the emotion is up and perhaps, it's very boring. When you go into Google, it says how many times you've visited a web page, okay? Mm. So I clicked on the handball law the other day and it said underneath, you have visited this page many times. And I thought, what is my life coming to? I've read the blooming FA handball laws 25 times this month or whatever. But I just want to educate myself and make sure that my understanding is correct. It's a very long-winded answer, apologies, but it's a very good question.
Okay.
A bowler hall last week, I think he was talking about the Aston Villa game, and he was saying that Aston Villa should be just at least given a point, even though they lost. Imagine if that was the case, it opened the can of worms that could. That it would be like Brexit and Remain all over again, wouldn't it?
Well, and you got this ridiculous situation with the Aston Villa game, where they basically, the day after, changed the law. Not changed the law, but they, what flowery wording did they use? The interpretation that the referee, we all knew that goal was offside, and the player was coming from an offside position and didn't allow Tyrone Mings to control the ball, but a loophole it was called. So I know what he means, but unfortunately, Aston Villa were the unfortunate guinea pigs in a loophole being sort of exploited there. But that's why they don't fess up to things, because you immediately, oh well, hang on a minute, this goal shouldn't have been given. You've admitted that. Well, let's replay the game or give Aston Villa a point or what have you. And there's kind of, however annoying Mr. Agbonlahor might be, there's kind of some reason to his argument, isn't there?
Yeah, it sure is.
I've got to be honest, Ben, I've been long of the opinion, going back to the days when I used to play, that referees are an alien breed that have come from another planet somewhere and just landed here just to annoy me and many other football fans, because they certainly tear us apart at times, don't they, with some of their decision making. But at the end of the day, Ben, what do you reckon about fans getting back into the stadiums. Do you reckon there's any chance that we'll get back in there before the end of this season? I mean, I was sort of at one point hoping that it may be a playoff situation where you might be able to get back into the grounds of some sort, but now I'm not so sure about it.
No, I'm not sure either. So my parents, who are elderly, had their vaccine on Monday, and then they get their next one in 12 weeks' time, and they're kind of at the front of the queue. So you're adding 3 months on for the earliest people being vaccinated. We're in February now. We know the season ends in May. All I will say is the Americans are going to do the Super Bowl on Sunday night with a socially distanced stadium. And if you remember, in our first attempt pre-vaccine to come out of lockdown, they did do socially distanced stadiums. So I think it's going to depend on the area. So unfortunately, as Millwall fans, because you're in the most densely populated area of the country, I think there might be more chance, say, of my team, Ipswich, where, you're out in the sticks in Suffolk, and the R rate will presumably be a bit lower. You might get socially distanced, start with the 1,000 or what have you. So it's possible, but hey, I've made many predictions with reference to the pandemic and football, and many of them have not been correct. But if we go the way we were going, then we'll go from lockdown to areas going into Tier 3, and then I think, am I right in saying it was Tier 2 where you could have 1,000 in, wasn't it? So if
you know what though, Ben, because we've got the Euros supposedly in this country come the summer, part of me thinks that they'll be trying all they can to get some sort of fans back in before that kicks off.
To test it?
Yeah, to test it, literally, to sort of say, well, if we can put fans into Wembley for the playoff finals and that, then we can at least get some people in for the Euros as they come up, Yeah,
that's a good point. And for goodness sake, if anywhere you can socially distance, it's in Wembley. I've been to a League One playoff final. Am I allowed to mention Charlton on your podcast? Charlton and Sunderland.
It's not socially distancing. Sorry, Ben.
I was at that game, and there was only the bottom tier and the middle tier open in Wembley, so you could put the same amount of people that were at that game in the ground. And potentially the Sunderland then was a little bit more full than that. But yeah, I think you make a good point, especially if it is Wembley, and they might want to use the playoffs as a dry run. I think that's a good point, and especially given the FA owns Wembley, doesn't it, or is in charge of Wembley, so there's no accusations of this club gets this club gets that. So maybe you're right. It could even be the first game, might be the playoff finals.
Coming back to Millwall, Ben, you were talking about the draws earlier, and that took me back to my dear old dad, who always used to do the pools and always put Millwall for a draw when they played away from home. And I don't think he never got anything. He never got it right. But it's a funny one when you're drawing games week in, week out, because it's disappointing on one hand and you think, oh my God, but then you think to yourself, you're not that far away. There's been many games we've drawn recently that I think we'd all say we had the better of the game and we should have really won. And I find myself in that sort of limbo with Millwall at the moment. On the one hand, are they that poor? Or on the other hand, are they near to being that good?
It's so hard to tell, isn't it? The devil's in the detail with draws. I always say about a pragmatic manager, you're only ever a couple of defeats away from a long run without a win, but you're also only ever a couple of wins away from a long unbeaten run, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's just the sheer number, though, isn't it? I've got the table up in front of me. You've only lost the same amount of games as Reading, who are fourth. Unfortunately, Reading have been absolutely ruthless in front of goal and have scored 40 goals, and you've scored 22. So you can see the issue might not necessarily be draws, but there are teams that have scored less goals than than Millwall, although we do know finding a solution up top. Parrott obviously didn't work out, so what do you do with someone who hasn't worked out? Send him off to Ipswich, of course. And
he's scoring that full for you, Ben.
Yeah.
Yes, he will.
Probably at League One level, yeah. But Zahor, even in the last two, I mean, you'll have watched the whole games, but on a different type of form, he scores at Cardiff and he scores against Norwich, doesn't he? The 1v1 at Cardiff and the header versus Norwich. So perhaps it's, you're just a striker away from the draws turning into the wins. But the other thing, and the tide is rising at the bottom, isn't it? Where Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, Derby, Forest, QPR have all been on good runs lately. So even though Millwall have got a reasonable enough total at, sort of at 32, which you'd think is, far enough away when you've played 27 games, there is a couple of teams you'd expect, particularly Forest under Chris Hughton, that might well push up the table as well in the same way that you want Millwall to.
Yeah, we have just come off our worst run in 30 years, so perhaps we are turning the tide after the likes of Norwich and Cardiff, hopefully, where there were pretty good games.
I thought you was going to say after 30 years there, Pat.
No, well, you're right. It's four games without defeat and only one goal conceded in those games. But you know as well as I do that if the next game's a defeat, then like I said a minute ago, then all of a sudden it's 5 without a win, wherever it's 4 without a win. If the next game's a win, then all of a sudden you're 5 unbeaten and you're 9 points in 5. This is the problem with the draws, isn't it? And like I said, would you rather be like Bristol City, who have 7 points more but 5 defeats more?
Yeah.
I just want to see a goal.
Forest a strange one, Ben, aren't they? I thought they would have turned the corner by now with Chris Hughton, but they still seem to be struggling.
I think they have. I think it's one of those things where because QPR have got 10 points in 5, because Derby had won 3 on the trot, Forest have actually scored, I think, it's something like 16 points in 9. So Forest, I think sometimes the league table doesn't catch the form up for a while. I always liken it to TV ratings. This sounds a stupid analogy, but if you put a good TV show on, the ratings don't come straight away. They come kind of on a delay. And I think Forest will keep pushing. And I do think they have turned the corner, but just the tide has risen all around them, which doesn't bode well for a Birmingham or poor old Wickham, who are left right down there at the bottom.
Right, talking about the weekend, then games coming up. How do you think we get on about Sheffield Wednesday this weekend? Because as you say, they're on a good run again at the moment.
Where's the game?
The Den.
It's at the Den, is it? Interesting. Let me just bring up, because you haven't been good at home, have you? It's only one home win.
Yes.
You don't have to give us them statistics, Ben. We know them.
It's a bit weird with Sheffield Wednesday because I have a couple of theories that there's a couple of things that relegates you from the Championship. One is that you're too small. You're Yeovil or Burton or Wickham or Rotherham not running at a loss, and you can't compete. The other is chaos, and Sheffield Wednesday are like the definition of chaos, but it almost seems like the more chaos they have, the better their results become, and they're on a really, really good run at the moment. I would have said most of their points had come at home until they beat Bournemouth away, but you have to say they caught Bournemouth away at the right time, didn't they? Just at the end of Jason Tyndall's reign. It's tricky because on paper, Sheffield Wednesday, I don't think their team matches their results. It feels like a weaker team than in a while. Obviously, Barry Bannon will always be a tricky opponent at Championship level. They've got Adam Reach is a good wide player. Callum Patterson's a bit of a gnarly one to play against without necessarily being a particularly skillful player, let's just say. But in terms of the actual away form, they lost to Coventry recently, Drew. you should be in with a shout of that one. But if you're not at it, Sheffield Wednesday are in that kind of moment where they could. Do you know what I mean? If you're not quite there, I think they're in the mood to get something.
The thing is, though, Ben, you're right, but we've been promising it for so long, and if we do find the back of the net, I think it would just flow. It's like the old saying goes, we just need one to come off the back of someone's bum, and it could all change, couldn't it? It's one of those. It
could, yeah, absolutely could, and particularly for Zohore up the top there. Tell me, how's Kieftenbeld settled in?
Absolutely fantastically.
Looks a good player.
Great player.
He's a proper Millwall player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes,
definitely. Really hard.
Definitely.
And to be honest, I think when George Evans comes in, I think a slight move around in the middle. Maybe one of our own may have to come out, or one of the others. But that will definitely free up Leonard to come back up front a bit more, and maybe that's what he's been trying to do: shore up the middle, and we can go on from there.
Well, and if it's not working up the top, then take one step backwards. And I know people have been not necessarily too enthusiastic about Woods, have they? But if you can give Woods the extra insurance that Kieftenbeld, maybe that's it. It'll be Kieftenbeld, Woods, and Evans and then you can just go two up top, Zohore possibly, and Wallace, or another Bradshaw, Smith, etc. Can I ask you about McNamara as well? Because I didn't expect Romeo to be, dropping out the team. And tell me about McNamara.
Best thing you can say, Ben, is that it doesn't matter to me as a Millwall fan now whether it's McNamara or Romeo. He's been that good.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's been that good that he's fitted in so well. And as I say, Marlon Romeo always give us the impetus going forward. He was always a better attacking fullback than he was a defensive fullback. I'd say McNamara is a little bit more solid, but he still knows how to get forward and puts a decent cross in. So
yeah, you just need that balance at wing back, don't you? You can't be, one way or the other, can you? Else you're a fullback or you're a winger, aren't you? So it's I was just interested to see that he'd developed. But if you think about it, other than Ryan Leonard sort of playing at centre back, he's not far off. And this goes back to the Rowett question. He's not far off a team, is he? And when I used to come and watch you guys in like the best days under Neil Harris, I knew exactly what the team was. I knew exactly who was going to play. I knew what the philosophy and the system was. And it's just trying to get back towards that. I knew I was going to get 4-4-2 with Gregory and Morrison up front, and Saville and Williams and Wallace and O'Brien. I can virtually name them. Meredith and Romeo and Cooper and Hutchison. And if you'd had Białkowski that season, you'd probably got in the playoffs, wouldn't you? But it's working towards that sort of thing where the likes of me, who doesn't even support the team, can go, right, this is what we're going to get. And it might, he might be close now with a 3-5-2 and 3 central midfielders if he can get a configuration up front that's going to be better than 22 goals in 27 games or whatever it was.
Well, fingers crossed, Ben. Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Keep up the great work with everything you do online. I do listen and watch every day. And good luck to the Trackford boys with their new striker, Troy Parrott, for the rest of the season.
That's better for you than us.
Which man you got there now?
We're so bad. Honestly, we are so bad. Can you imagine? Deary me. Anyway, let me give you a mill.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ben. Absolute pleasure.
Cheers. Take care, guys.
Ben. Bye.
Cheers, Ben.
Great. We will take a break there before we listen to a couple of Millwall fans who are a mother and daughter combo. But for now, here is our Bromley wanderer, Kai Bennett, and his Millwall Fan TV.
Hello, I'm Kai. I run Millwall Fan TV. I have done for about 1.5 years now. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. If you just search in Millwall Fan TV, I should come up. You can also find me on YouTube at Millwall Fan TV. I do pre-match predictions, post-match analysis and full-time reaction. I also try to do as many interviews on ex-Millwall players. I've done about 10 so far, and I've absolutely loved every minute of it. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you want to subscribe to Millwall, my channel, it's Millwall Fan TV. All your support is always massively appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Gary Staff, and I am back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and Dave Hart. Our second guests tonight are some friends of mine and the recent winners of the Bryan King book, The Lion King. Brenda has been going to Millwall for over 65 years, following in the footsteps of her grandparents and dad. She was born and bred in New Cross, a stone's throw from the Old Den, and went to Monson Road Primary School next to the Old Den. Melissa started going about 1983, just when George Graham took over as manager. Melissa and her mum travelled the length of the country watching the Lions. I was even on a few of those trips. Melissa was mascot in December 1986 against Huddersfield, when a certain Teddy Sheringham scored a hat-trick for the club. Welcome to the show, Melissa and Brenda.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, both.
Good evening.
Hiya.
Hiya. Melissa, you have undoubtedly been busy at Lewisham Hospital, but can you briefly tell us what it's been like during the recent wave of COVID?
Yeah, it's been really manic. I'm not actually a nurse. I work in the pathology department, and we work alongside the mortuary, and it has been manic, really busy. But we are just starting to see a slight decrease, so hopefully things are on the up now. Well, they were saying today, weren't they, Mel, that the peak has been done, and hopefully that's the last one we'll ever see. Yeah. Hopefully. Cool. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yep, fingers crossed. Hello, Brenda. It's Ted.
Hello. Hello, Ted.
How are you? All right?
Yeah, we know you, Ted.
Yeah, I know you do.
Oh, wow.
Shush, that's our secret. Oh, dear. I'm reading this out, by the way, so you understand why when I say it. What a daughter Melissa is.
Oh, I know.
Entering and winning our competition for you to have a copy of Bryan King's The Lions King, and to top that up, a personal message from Bryan on the show.
I know.
What was that like?
Oh, it was lovely. I remember Bryan playing his first game. It weren't very happy for him, but I do remember him. But he became great in the end.
He was your favourite, wasn't he, Brenda?
Well, he was one of my favourites.
It was all to do with them short shorts, wasn't it, in them days?
Yeah, the type.
I'm coming out now, Mum.
Actually, he's born the same year as me.
Yeah.
But no, I'll tell you what, you're right, though, Brenda, because his first game, it wasn't great, but it shows you how sometimes you should persist with players, because he turned out to be, in my opinion, our greatest goalkeeper ever.
That's right, yeah.
Good, but Bryan King was brilliant, wasn't he?
And a very nice personality as well. I couldn't believe how funny he was when he was on the show, one of your shows. You know, he had a good sense of humour, really. Because he always struck me as a quiet sort of person, you know.
I think you've got to have a bit of a sense of humour to play for Millwall, if I'm honest.
I know.
I'd support him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, love him.
Good old days, Brent.
Yeah, good old days.
Well, I just thought I'd shoot into this programme for a little bit of chat with Brenda. How you keeping, Brenda? It's Bryan King.
Oh, lovely.
How'd you like the book? I like what you say. We were born in the same year. Blimey, huh?
Good year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sure. Certainly was. Certainly a good year for goalkeepers and Millwall supporters, by the sound of it.
Oh, thank you.
I think Barry Kitchener was born that year as well.
Yeah, Barry Kitchener, I think, was born the same year.
That's right. He was born in May, I think. Was it May? No,
December.
December, because we just missed his birthday. Yeah, I had a few birthdays with him. I can assure you of that.
Bryan, did you like your book as much as he likes your legs in them short shorts?
Well, there we go. That's all we had to wear, by the way. And I believe somebody else said, just let it all hang out. Well, I'll tell you what, we struggled a few times. Same as Dunphy did. Listen, have you enjoyed the book?
Yeah, I'm halfway through it. I really have enjoyed it. You know, learning about your family and all the things that you was an electrician, you know, all that. Yeah, I really have. And it's so easy to read as well. It's not complicated or anything like that, you know.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, it's really...
So we got Melissa to thank for that.
I know.
I did try to get it for Christmas and I couldn't, so I was well chuffed.
I bet you were. Well, I was well chuffed that you won it, and to hear what great supporters you both are and your family are, I mean, it really warms my heart to think that you can still remember me playing at the Den, old Den.
Oh, I can remember you. I thought you was brilliant, you know.
Well, it was fun playing there, wasn't it, at the start?
We'd had some good goalkeepers then as well, didn't we? You know, like
certainly did.
You know, well, we've had some now. I'm not, you know, but I think they were the top. You were the top ones.
I'll tell you what, Brenda, they caught the ball a lot more in them days than they do now, and they didn't have gloves.
I was about to say that, Ted. Did they not wear gloves?
And they were tougher, weren't they? They were.
Well, that's something we had to be, because today you can't touch a goalkeeper, but in my day you were just waiting for when you were going to get clumped, I can assure you.
Right, did you have a pair of the goalkeeping gloves? They were like sort of table tennis bats, the little pimples on them.
I remember
No, I had a pair from the Army and Navy store in Bishop Stortford. They cost £3 a pair. Honestly, and they're on the back of the book actually. One year, those gloves on the back were the year we missed out on promotion. Those gloves.
Oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
And I can remember my dear old Nan. She said one day, I know she come to see me play, and she said to my dad, "It must be cold, Sid." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, she said the boy's got gloves on. It'd been pouring the rain all day. That's the only time we wore them."
That's the sort of thing so Nan would say, isn't it?
Well, there you go. There you go. I can remember when I went to Vancouver and we're going back to the airport and I saw "Drink Canada Dry." I thought, bloody hell, good job my dad ain't here.
Brilliant.
Anyway, it's lovely to speak to you all again.
Oh, lovely to speak to you.
Absolute pleasure, Bryan.
Thank you very much. You keep well and
Bryan.
keep safe. Keep safe, all of you.
And
Cheers, Bryan. Thanks
Bye.
for that.
Yeah, bye-bye. Love you, Brad. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Evening, Melissa and Brenda. It's Dave here. So over the years, you've been following the Lions. What's been your greatest memories, highlights?
We've got so many.
Meeting me.
I think reaching the cup final
up in Manchester.
Even at Bristol Rovers a couple of seasons ago, we enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yeah, when Hutchinson got that goal, that fourth goal.
Oh, great day, great day.
Yeah, really
that was
good.
Brilliant. The first time I ever went to Wembley, that was good. When we've won the playoffs, they were brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, so many memories, so many, you know.
Brenda, that cup semi-final at Manchester, as much as I loved it, I aged about 20 years that day waiting for that clock to go round.
Well, Ted, you don't
Was
have
that not
to
the longest game of football you ever went?
You want to sit next to her down the den. She's shaking like a leaf all the time.
And if anyone sits in front of me the first half, they don't come back again because I'm going, oh, God.
Are you still behind the goal, Mel and Brent?
Yeah, we sit to the left in the
lower left,
Colbert Lane lower, still down there.
We miss it all because we've got a nice group of friends down there, and that is part of it, really.
Yeah.
You know. Brenda, did you get to go during the 2 games we had?
No.
During
I'll
COVID?
tell you what.
No, because were season ticket holders, but we hadn't renewed by the time the lockdown came
And then
in.
we went to renew them again, and the lockdown went again.
Oh.
So, but I really, really, really miss it, you know. And I can't wait till they start selling next season. I don't care if it's not, I'm going to still get it.
It's a big part of your life. Anyway, it's Pat here talking to you. Obviously, how do you think this season's going before we get to next season?
Yeah, I mean, football's not the same now anyway, is it? But I think he's building quite a good team. Obviously, we've started in places. I think COVID hitting them gave them a bit of a lull in January. But the last couple of games, I think we've seen an upturn, and hopefully now we can kick on, finish mid-table, ready to rebuild over the summer. Any of the new players he's brought in sort of takes your eye? You think, oh yeah, it's definitely going to work out for him.
Keep it clean, keep it clean.
No, we like the new Dutch midfielder. I think he's a Millwall type player.
I like Sahar.
We quite like Sahar.
I think he will come good.
His strength and the holding up.
Bennett's a bit of a hit and miss.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't mind Malone either. I think sometimes, and that's another good game when we went over to Queen's Park Rangers and the referee, Mr. Friend, gave him a penalty. Rangers said handball. No one see it. And I remember Malone running nearly halfway up the pitch, didn't he, and scored. And we was upstairs. I thought it was going to collapse up there.
It was all arms and limbs that night.
Yeah.
It was definitely green through the ball in the net, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The goalie.
I think
do you know what though?
Redknapp was manager then.
Yeah. Do you know what though, Brent? I think he's come in, and I know he gave away one or two passes and made a few mistakes. But I think on a whole, Malone has actually done quite a solid job coming back. He had big shoes to fill in Wallace, didn't he? Who was quite solid.
And he can hit a ball, knockout, can't he?
Of course he can, yeah. And do you know what? I actually felt for him the other night because he would expect to hit the back of the net with that one he put wide. And I don't know why he didn't go near post, right? Then he went far post.
It's a shame, wasn't it? Just
yeah.
And we like McNamara as well, don't we?
Yeah. And I like Romeo. I mean, I feel sort of a bit upset about all that, but...
Keep going, girls. You've only got two more players to name.
Atkinson, I think it's 100% every game.
Yeah. So if you had to vote for Player of the Year today, who would you pick?
That's a tough
Sean Atkinson.
Yeah. I don't know yet. I don't know.
See, I'd strangely go Leonard at the moment.
Yeah, he has come on well, hasn't he? He's really come on well. I mean, he took a bit of stick, but he's come on good.
So, I think under the circumstances, they've done really, with getting the corona thing and...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can't underestimate that, I think we do a little bit, with that little bit of a lull that we went through and some of the players had the COVID. There just seems to be more energy in them now than there was, say, 3 or 4 weeks ago. But let's talk about away days. What's your favourite away day of going to a ground? Is there one you really look forward to, Melissa and Brenda? Is there one that you think, I can't wait to go there? But apart from West Ham, we all know we like that one.
We like to go Palace when we play them, don't we? Because I grew up in Sydenham and all my mates were Palace.
Oh, that's a nice day then, isn't it?
Yeah, so...
It's over ground, excuse my language, but I hate it.
We had a great day there one Boxing Day. We beat them 1-0. They'd absolutely battered us, missed the penalty.
Yes. Yeah. Was that the one, wasn't it Tony Warner? Did Tony Warner say
that? Yeah, right. We come out with cheery and then they go and think they've got to the cup final, don't they? And that, ironically, we did that year.
I must admit, there's no better feeling than beating Palace. I remember we beat them on New Year's Day.
Yeah,
about 3 or 4 nil. The other
over a kick, wasn't it?
That was good. Yeah.
Right.
Mother's Day beating West Ham.
Mother's Day massacre.
Oh yeah.
Right, sorry ladies, I've had to say goodbye there, but it's been absolutely wonderful to speak to you both.
Great.
Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed your little surprise there. Only 2 of us on the call actually knew that was going to happen, and that was me and Eamon. And I hope you really enjoyed that.
Yeah, thanks ever so much. Thanks.
No problem.
Lovely to speak to you all.
But quickly before you go,
Melissa, see you later.
Before you go, sorry, Brenda, before you go, quick prediction for Saturday.
I think we're going to get a much-awaited home win, 1-0.
I'll say 2-1.
Well, listen, you built that all up. We're going to have a much-awaited home win. I thought you were going to say 4-0. You said
come
1-0.
on, Ted, you've seen them lately. I can't see.
Oh, dear. Brilliant. Well, thank you, ladies.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah,
Take care. Bye. So, don't forget our fan in the dugout, Sean Ash from last week. He was inspirational walking around the den on Tuesday. And don't forget, if you can help Sean out with the London Ambulance Services NHS Trust, just put Sean Ash Just Giving into your browser and the link will take you to the page to share a donation. Come on, one and all, help make a big difference. We'll take a break there before we talk to probably our most famous lioness. But for now, here's Bethany Warren and Be My Eyes.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Correct image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the Lionesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Gary Staff and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and Dave Hart. We have tried the app. If you just let us know by sending an email to studio@noonelikesUstalking.com, that's all lowercase and talking is without a G, studio@noonelikesUstalking.com, and Jules has some memorabilia he'd like to send out to a few people that have tried it. There are 7 more opportunities to win No One Likes Us Talking memorabilia. Okay, next up, our last guest is not only a lioness, but a lifelong Millwall fan. She is busy despite the Lionesses being gameless under lockdown regulations. It is that great friend of the show, brilliant fundraiser, Millwall Community Trust ambassador, and the face behind the recent innovation, the Lions Food Hub. We welcome the wonderful Kelly Webster.
Hello, you all right? How's
hi,
everyone
Kelly.
doing?
Evening,
Kelly.
Evening, Kelly.
What an introduction that was.
It's all true. Great to speak to you once again, Kelly. How are you coping without the football?
I think as a team we've been coping quite well. I mean, I think we had a Zoom call the other day and we all said it, and it's mad. I know people are probably going to laugh, but we all absolutely hate running. I think we've all realised that through lockdown, and it is just running on the streets doing whatever, because Andy set us out fitness, so we're doing 2 sessions a week we have to do. So it might be a 4K run, and then it might be sprints and press ups, or it might be whatever. And we've all said, like, just running, we just sort of think, really? But we have been pushing to do it, and we are trying to keep as fit as possible, and I think we're just trying to motivate each other through it. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean about the running side of it. I was exactly the same, but put a pint at the end of the pitch, I was like Usain Bolt running down.
For me, it's just have a football on the pitch, or that's it. I'm there. Do you know what I mean? But
That's
yeah,
right.
just running.
That's right. Anyway, Kelly, tell us about the Lions Food Hub. How did it come to be? Where is it? When is it opened? And how can we and the listeners help you?
So the first lockdown, I was speaking to Sean Daly, and I wanted to do sort of like care packages and stuff like that. It never sort of came about because trying to get funding and everything else. So the estate that I live on, which is like the Rennie and Manor Estate, like Tenants Association, since April last year, I've been doing bits and pieces for those estates. So whether that be meals, plus sort of doing a little bit of a food hub and delivering to people if they need to, or they go down. And the halls at Gallywell Road in Asses 16, so they've been doing bits and pieces. So I went to talk to them and basically said I want to come on board and I want to open it up to the whole of SE16, and then also if someone come to me from Deptford or Walworth or something like that, I want to try and help basically as many people as we grow it. And the lady there, Lisa, who's running that now, was really happy to have us on board, and we're just trying to grow it at the moment as much as possible, so we can help as many people as possible. So we're open on a Tuesday and a Friday at the moment. Obviously, as we get bigger, hopefully we'll open more days. But we recently just set up an app, which is a Banquet, spelt BANKUET, and you can go on there and donate. Either you can donate monthly or you can just do a one-off donation if you want. So yeah, if you go onto there and then put in Lions Food Hub, it'll take you onto our page, and then we have like a wholesaler supplier that we connect through that. So we put in orders and they send us out. We haven't received an order yet. The first order went in the other day and we're waiting on the first one. And then once that arrives, then say we can open it up a bit bigger than what they're doing at the moment.
Do you get many people come along to you, Kelly?
Yeah, like so the other day where I'm a collections driver, one of the schools that I go to had some of the hampers, like the beans, all that kind of stuff for the kids, like the food bags, and then we had some from Harris Academy, and we had ended up having quite a lot. So Lisa stayed there Wednesday and Thursday last week, and we had over 17 families on one of the days, and I don't remember how many it was on the next day, but yeah, so they came along and all of that went, and then what was left, I think, might have gone to Rye Hill Estate, like Tenants Association. So we made sure that we'd put it all out to good use, basically.
Hi, it's Kelly. It's Dave here.
You all right, Dave?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. I hope the Lions Food Hub doesn't keep you too busy, because we all know Ted promised last year that he wants to find out how we can join you for the 21 bridges in memory of Jimmy Mizen this year. How's that coming along?
Well, obviously, like the other day I was talking to my partner, I said, I don't think it's obviously going to happen again at the moment, us still being in lockdown and stuff like that. So I messaged Margaret the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and said I'd really like to do it again for you this year. So we set up a GoFundMe page today, which is, again, 21 bridges in memory of Jimmy Mizen. I'll be doing it on the 30th of May, which is the bank holiday weekend at the end of May. I'll be going live throughout the day, but I just want to try and raise as much money as possible for them. I want to top last year's total, because they're doing such amazing work. And as we said, in this current times, smaller charities like them, they're just not getting much funding in. And yeah, so Ted, you get your walking shoes on, yeah?
Yeah, get them on, Ted. I remember you saying that.
But no, I've just messaged Jamie today actually, and Jamie's up for doing it with me again. So it'll be definitely the two of us, because obviously you're allowed 1-to-1s at the moment, and if nothing changes by then, I mean hopefully it does. But we definitely both want to do like the Mizen family proud and help them with the charity work that they do with as much money as possible.
Yeah, you do.
I'll do one bridge with you, Kelly.
Sorry, what was that?
I'll do one bridge with you, definitely.
One bridge. What, Tower Bridge?
I don't want to overexert myself.
Yeah, he hopes it's open at the time. Hello, Kelly, it's Pat here.
Hi,
On
Pat,
top of all that, yeah, I'm fine. You and Ellen have been busy with the Millwall Community Trust Heroes, and Ellen is also fundraising for a memorial for the late and much-loved Ty Hemblade, Can you tell us a bit more about these activities and let us know how we can contribute to the MCT and the most worthy cause in memory of Ty, who fought cancer for so many years?
So the helping out at the hospital sort of come about that Sean Daly messaged and said they've got a staff wellbeing hub. We're trying to man it over the weekend. So there's one in Lewisham Hospital and there's one in Queen Elizabeth. So I said straight away, obviously I'm not playing football on a Sunday. I'm quite happy to go along and use my Sunday that I would normally be playing football to go there, and basically it's just up in the restaurant at Lewisham, like the staff restaurant, and we just give free tea, coffee, whatever, like biscuits, whatever's donated. Could be soap, face cream, there's lots of different things that are donated, and just try and sit and have a chat and have a different conversation, I suppose, with these people, so that they not only just thinking about work continuously, maybe have a chat about football or something like that. But me and Ellen have said, like, we will literally do it as long as I'm not playing football. I'm happy to be there on a Sunday. And Sean's been amazing. I said to him that they needed bottles of water, really, because on the wards it's quite hot and stuff like that. And the last 2 weeks he's given me water to go down with. Me and Ellen added a few cases to it last week, just because we know what it means to them just to have a cold bottle of water on a ward when they're so busy to not stop and eat or drink, really. So, yeah. And with Ellen, I say, yeah, she set up the GoFundMe for Ty because sadly he passed away, and he's always, well, I say, he wanted to sort the memorial garden out before he passed away, but sadly it didn't happen, and now we want to help the family to get it done. And hopefully a plaque at the den for the Millwall family that Ty always called us, basically, always said, like, my Millwall family, and Ellen's doing a great job with that. So if you go on, I think it's GoFundMe, and put in our beloved Ty, and you can donate on there and hopefully help the family as much as possible get what, like, he wanted them to have. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was a lovely bloke, Ty. I've got a great story. A couple of years ago, I planned to do a Millwall calendar, but with fans each month, naked with just a football shirt covering certain parts. Okay. And when I actually put it on Facebook, he was the first one to approach me and say, "Can I be December?" I mean, sadly, it never took off, but he was so quick in there. As well, yeah, he was a lovely bloke.
He said, an absolute amazing man. I've never met such an amazing man. I mean, obviously, everyone knows he was a firefighter. Everything that he'd done, me and Ellen, when we found out, we was absolutely heartbroken because really just wanted to see more of him before, do you know, and this lockdown sort of took that away. I mean, I see I'm getting choked now, but I knew that Ellen wouldn't talk about this because she can't. Every time she tries to talk about him, it is really hard. But I just want his family to have something to remember him by, and obviously the plaque and everything else. I think for me, do you know, he'd absolutely love all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is hard time.
That's the minimum we should get, Kelly. That's the minimum we should get. By the way, can I have them photos back that calendar's not going there?
That is crazy, though. I'm going to have to tell Ellen when I do get off that, because
it's a shame it never came off. It would have been a really good calendar.
No, it definitely would. Definitely.
Oh, well, Kelly, lovely stories and fantastic work that you've been doing, especially with Ty there. But before you go, how do you think we're going to get on this weekend against the Wednesday?
Well, there's a bit of a story to this. I keep going 3-1 every week, 3-1, 3-1, right? So the other day I said to Ellen, 3-1 it's going to be. And she goes, no, it's going to be a draw. So I said, okay. So she said, I bet on 3-1 and it's a draw. So she goes, why don't you listen to me? So I haven't asked her this week, but I said last week I was positive, but I think something's changed in the last little while from the last couple of games, especially the last game. So for me, I'm going to stay positive and I'm going 3-1.
Brilliant.
I think we should go 1-1 and then we might win 3-1, Kelly.
You never know. I just can see us getting it's not going to be one goal, it's going to be a few. Do you know, like the way things are changing, I think something's just Sahor just gets one or whatever, and then it's going to lead on to the 3-1.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kelly. All the best with the Lions Food Hub, the 21 Bridges, and Ellen's Memorial Fund for Ty.
Thank
we
you.
have to have you back on the next couple of months to see how you're doing. Thanks, Kelly, and it's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, no, thank you all. Thank you for all your support, and thank you for everything that you do. It does really, really mean a lot to me and Ellen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers, Kelly.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers.
Take care.
Stop walking, I'll tell you.
Before we look ahead to our forthcoming fixtures, Eamon caught up with our Bromley wanderer, Kai Bennett of Millwall Fan TV, who has been keeping us in the loop with all the details during last week's transfer window.
Hi, Eamon here, and I caught up with Kai Bennett from Millwall Fan TV earlier on today. We shared quite a bit of information during the transfer run-in. I thought it would be good for Kai to come and talk to the listeners about his experience during the transfer window. Kai, welcome.
Hello, and thank you very much for having me.
No, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Kai, how did you find following the transfer stories up towards the end of the window closing?
Well, it was nerve-wracking, wasn't it? We wanted to bring in an attacking midfielder. You know, we didn't end up getting one done. You know, personally, I think we probably should have and could have got one of them. You know, so it was a nervy ending to the transfer window, and probably a little bit less active than I would have preferred.
Yeah, I think that was a view of many. You went to the training ground a good few times. Why was that?
I just love going to have a look at what's going on. You know, just had my free periods out on my school day, and I just nipped out of the house and I went to a training ground. I live close to the training ground, about sort of 10-15 minutes. So just nipped out there, had a little look, and it was interesting just to, you know, see if you can see anything. I like watching them going. I like going to watch them train anyway, just for 10-15 minutes, just see what's going on. Yeah, I just love watching Millwall. Really, that's sort of my hobby.
Well, you give us great feedback, even up to quite late of the night. So all good to you for giving us the information about what was going on at the training ground. Absolutely fantastic. So we've got two, well, actually we've got three in really. We've got Kifton Bell, we've got Evans, and we also kept hold of Sahor, who could have left us. You happy with that? I mean, you did say earlier we're short of an attacking midfielder. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was pleased with Kifton Bell. I thought it was a really, I've read the news, I think Richard Cowley broke it that it was a free transfer, in fact, and that I thought that was a really smart bit of business. Getting Kifton Bell on a free looks like a really good bit of business. He looks a good player. He looks like he looks the part, and I think he's going to be a fan's favourite. Hopefully, when the fans return, you know, with his tough tackling and work rate. I thought extending Sahor's loan was really important. Get him extended, which was really good, and hopefully he'll start to show his worth soon. I thought he battled really well. Unfortunate not to get that goal, but I think hopefully if he keeps going, that will come. And I was really pleased with Evans as well. I thought, you know, I think Rout was building something here, and I think he can play centre back / centre defensive midfielder, so he can play in a few different positions. So it's really good to have a good utility player like that, and hopefully he'll slot into the back three and free Leonard up to go back into the centre. I would have liked an attacking midfielder, as I said earlier. I think we just needed that little bit more creativity, but unfortunately we weren't able to get one over the line clearly.
No, I think it was a tough run-in, but Gary Rowett did say he wasn't going to be held to ransom, and if we have to go with what we've got, then we'll go with it. Well, thanks, Kai, once again for talking to us. It's really been a pleasure sharing information with you over the last week. We'll see you back on the show before long, I'm sure. Take care, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me.
I make Kai about right, and many thanks for all your updates recently, Kai. Keep up the good work. Well, it's time to look ahead to what is coming up next for the Lions. But first, we hear from our most recent recruit.
Hi, everyone. Alice here. Thanks for watching my videos. And thank you for all the support. But now it's time to look ahead to your next match. Come on, Millwall!
Oh, makes me smile. Thanks, Alice. Our Henry Statto Morgan is up next with Ben Woodcock of the Wednesday Week podcast. as the fan from the opposition. Let's hear what he has to say ahead of the game at the weekend.
Welcome to View from the Opposition. This evening we're speaking to Ben Woodcock from the Wednesday Week podcast. Good evening, Ben.
Good evening, how are you? You okay?
Not too bad. Draw with Norwich. I saw that your boys went one better with a very good 2-1 victory down at Bournemouth, actually. Yeah. But I think we're a bit aggrieved. We should have beaten Norwich, actually. We really had them for the last 15 minutes. But yeah, anyway, I think our performances are moving in the right direction. And from the looks of things, your performances as well seem to be moving in the right direction. I think when I looked up your form, you've won 4 of the last 5. What's been the story since we last played you, Ben?
It's been quite a long story, really. I mean, I think Gary Monk just been sacked, or
I think he got sacked. I think we were his tombstone.
Quite a lot's happened since then. Tony Pulis comes in, spends 40 days, I think just over 40 days, and then gets sacked after a pretty dismal spell. And after that, Neil Thompson stepped in, who's been around the club for years and years, just sort of under 23s and stuff like that, and just seems to put things in neutral and told the players to do what they can do individually.
Yeah,
the last 4 or 5 we've done okay. We had a bit of a stumble against Coventry. Other than that, form-wise, on the pitch, we've done okay. I think the big worries for Wednesday fans at the moment is off the pitch with the running of the club.
Yeah, I think there are a few clubs in that predicament at the moment, aren't they? Certainly with dodgy ownership. Burnley was another one this week, which is coming to the fore as well, which is not great. Who's playing particularly well for you at the moment? Is collective team effort, or are there a few individuals that are starting to just find their feet again and maybe a bit of confidence and a bit of form?
I think with us it is quite a team effort. On paper, we have got quality. Ilvan's always going to be a
phenomenal player,
a threat every game. Yeah, all round. Yeah, it's pretty much a team effort. I mean, going forwards, we're not prolific, but Callum Patterson's got, I think, 4 in his last 7 now.
Okay,
so including one against Bournemouth. I don't know if you've seen that one. Comical goal. It's one to watch if you've not already seen it. But yeah, he has a good scoring run of form. So if it were to be anybody that's going to score, it could well be Callum Patterson.
Interesting. So anyway, I guess this is a bit of a road trip for you. Bournemouth, then down to the dodgy Den on Saturday. Pitch is looking a bit heavy at the moment, and I'm sure the game midweek won't have helped. Have you got an inkling of a score? You must be fairly confident going into this game by the sounds of things.
It's a tricky one because you really do never know. Like I said, we had that blip against Coventry, which I'll hold my hands up. I think after that one, I was sort of thinking we are going to struggle to pull ourselves out of this situation. But then we're going to beat Preston, who are always a tough side. Yeah, you can beat Preston, but it's an unlikely one, really, that you're going to pick up all 3 points against them. And then
definitely
we talked about Bournemouth, so it's not going to be a high-scoring one, as I think we said before the game at Hillsborough, which turned out to be true. But we don't very often score more than 1 or 2, so I'll go for 1-1.
Oh, he's gone for another draw. I think there'll be a few Millwall fans around this evening listening to this groaning with that scoreline. Norwich was our 13th draw this season, so interesting. Okay, well listen, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, giving us your view after Saturday. Best of luck for the rest of the season. I sincerely hope you don't go down so that we can have a cracking away day up at Hillsborough next season, which is, I think I speak on behalf of many Lions fans, one of our favourite away trips, going to Sheffield and obviously to the blue side of it.
Yeah, good.
So brilliant. Listen, thanks for coming on, and good luck for the rest of the season after Saturday.
You. Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Ben and Henry. Let's hope for not another draw. Hey, guys. So, peeps, Pat, what do you think?
As Ben said, they've won their last 4 out of 5. They're obviously on the up. I know they're second from bottom, but that belays their abilities. Remember, they had 6 points deducted at the start of the season. If you put those points back, they're only 1 point behind us. I don't know. I think if Rowett keeps the same team as Norwich, I mean, he's had that same team for 3 games now, and I think the consistency is starting to show. They're getting to know each other, whereas before that, it was a bit like the Okie every game, in, out. I think perhaps he's got a settled team now. I'd like to think he wouldn't change it again. And I think if he keeps that, I think we could do well Saturday.
Ted?
Yeah, I mean, I said a few weeks ago that it might be nice to settle down with a formation and, fit players into that formation for a while and get, like Pat said, a consistent side together. And with Sheffield Wednesday and their form at the moment, I would say maybe it's a good idea to stick with the same side. It depends how Rowett sees George Evans, whether he wants to bring him straight in or not. And of course, it also depends upon any knocks or anything that people have had, because they've had a busy schedule recently. But I thought the other night against Norwich, apart from the fact that the starting 11 played really well, I thought when the substitutions were made, that also had a real impact on the game. And, the chances that we really missed all came after the substitutions, the real good chances, that is. And I think, maybe Gary's game plan will be something similar. Keep it tight. As Pat said, they do seem to be understanding how they're going to be playing in this formation. Let them do that. If we get ourselves in front, all well and good. We're more than capable of doing it with that formation. But if it's still 0-0, then with 15, 20 minutes to go, swap it around again to the sort of formation he finished with. And, hopefully we'll get a win this week.
And over to you, Dave.
I totally agree with Ted and Pat. They're on a bit of a run. Bannon's always going to be a thorn in our side. He's a great player. He can dictate play. And Callum Patterson, he's another one that's it's 4 goals in 7, is it? I don't know what the team selection for me should stay the same, but it depends on the way Gary feels about Evans. I mean, Evans would be a great addition to the side, but does he want to start him on this Saturday, or stick with it and get him into the side first, feel the way we play, and move on from there? So I think it's going to be a bit of a tough game, but one we can win.
I think the one thing he might do, Gal and Dave, is, as Dave was pointing out with Evans, is it may well be that Evans might go into the back three, freeing up Leonard. And I think, unfortunately, if someone misses out with Leonard, it'll be Ben Thompson. Because I just have this feeling in the back of my head that everyone's talking about an attacking midfield player and whatever. I think Rowett likes the way Leonard gets into the box and gets in there, and he hasn't really played very often with the opportunity of doing that. So I'm not saying he should do it, but if there's one change to the team that he might make, I think that might be it.
I tell you what, Ted, you're absolutely right. And one thing, just thinking about saying that, and I agree 100%. I think that will be the only change. I think Tomo will go out and Evans will come in, but we've missed Leonard's firepower from the edge of the box. Just picking the ball up and having a strike. He scored, a couple of goals like that this season just by taking that chance.
And he nearly scored the other night, Gal, with one from the corner. That he a terrific volley that went just over. But he has, even when he's played in midfield, he does appear every now and again in the box, Ryan Leonard, and he does seem to have that. No, Ben Thompson's done not a lot wrong in the last few games for me, but I just think Leonard seems to be get himself into the box a little bit better than Ben. I don't know. Well, Ben would have had I'll give him 7 out of 10. He'd have had a 9 out of 10 if he could stand up in the last 3 games. But he spent so much of the time falling over. But listen, I'll be happy if he starts with the same team. But I'll just have this feeling that there might be that one change.
Agreed. So, quick predictions. Firing along, Pat.
I still can't see where the goals are going to come from. I'm reluctant to say another draw, so I'll go 1-0 to us.
Ted?
You know what? It's very hard to predict, isn't it? But I just have a feeling, I know you said it earlier, but I think we're close to, getting a 3-0 victory somewhere along the line.
I agree.
I won't quite go that far. I'll say 2-0.
And last, but by no means least, Dave.
Yeah, you nicked my score, Ted. I was going to say 2-0. I'll go with 2-1. I'll go with 2-1.
Well, Ted usually sits on the fence, doesn't he? So
George
old
does that.
splinters in his bum.
I'll tell you, it's a reinforced fence if I'm sitting on it, Pat. Yeah.
I will go for that 3-0, Ted, so I'll be a bit optimistic. I said 4.
I hope you're right, Gal. I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too.
Drinks on you.
So, and for a change, which is going to be a bit hard this week, we haven't got a midweek game. So that's some relief for some Millwall chosen few and a rest for some of the players. But don't forget, you can hear Henry reviewing Saturday's match on Sunday. Links will be available on the social media sites and Spreaker. We'll take a break there for what is more important message now than ever from our beautiful Patricia Maslin.
But first, here's Harvey Brown.
Hello, Harvey Brown here. I miss my football at the Den. Did you know Millwall Community Trust are continuing to help people of all ages from different walks of life and are doing so much good in these tough times? But they need our help. Here's Patricia to tell you more.
Oh, thank you for that intro, Harvey. Millwall Community Trust appreciates your support. You are a star. Hi, Patricia Maslin here. The Millwall Community Trust needs volunteer help. Whether you're an organisation with bodies able to assist or an individual, the Trust needs you during the current conditions to support the vulnerable and needy. If you can help make a difference or need help, please contact Sean Daly, the Trust's Chief Executive Officer, by phone on 07958 027060. Once again, that's 07958 027060. Or contact by email sdaly, I'll spell that, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. I'll repeat that, sdaly, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you can, or you know someone or any organisation who might be able to help, please let the Community Trust know. Thank you.
I'm Gary Staff, and I am back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson, and Dave Hart. People continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus, or as a consequence of suffering with it. Deaths and infections continue at an absurd rate, whilst incredible numbers of people are still hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to the victims, their families, friends, and those who take care of them.
There are so many fans who want to support the club, and you can help by joining the Lions Loyalty Club. It costs £40 with benefits. But for £25, you or a member of your family can also be a crowdie, and why not sponsor a player's kit at a discounted rate of £450. That's £130 off, still with all the benefits. You can also obtain a virtual mascot package for £104. Also, watch out for our virtual match sponsor packages, which will shortly be released. All the details and more can be found on the Millwall website. Lastly, don't forget iFollow returns to our screens with Carl Bates and Max McLennan on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday. 100% of what you pay, less taxes, for the internet streaming service, home or away, goes back to the Millwall Football Club. And what a way to improve their revenue in these challenging times.
Next Friday, Eamon hosts Bethany Warren, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnage. Good luck, Eamon. In the meantime, Scott Johnson, the founder of Proper Blokes Club, is still looking for guys to come along and join him to break the stigma of men's mental health with walk and talk groups. Being in lockdown means walks will continue, but on a one-to-one basis. Check out the Proper Blokes Clubs on Twitter, Facebook for further details. And don't forget to get behind Millwall fan and London Ambulance Service call handler on his walking challenge and the NHS Trust. Simply insert Sean Ash Just Giving into your browser and a link will take you to the page to make a donation. Also, just a reminder to Millwall fans that Saturday is actually a memorial game against Sheffield Wednesday for the loved ones we've lost over the last year. So just a quick mention of that. It's good night from me.
And don't forget, neither the Millwall Lionesses or Romans are playing football under the current restrictions. Nonetheless, player sponsorship for the Lionesses is still available this season. Why not share the burden between a few of you or even a couple of companies? If you can give them some added support, it will be most helpful. You can find details on their website. Just put Millwall Lionesses into your browser and you will find them easy enough. We have led by example and sponsored their captain, Libby Stubbs. Take care and good night from me.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep safe on the streets out there. Follow the lockdown guidance, social distancing when outside, and a face mask where necessary. Before I go, if you would like to sponsor the show, please get in touch by emailing us at studio@noonelikesUstalking.com. That's all lowercase and talking is without a G again. studio@noonelikesUstalking.com. We're listened to by thousands of people, so it'd be great to get your advertising out there as well. That's it from me. Thanks, Patricia, Ted and Dave. Until next time, good night.